Welcome to Slash Forward. This week, we're gonna really get things going with a string of movies that are hopefully not too hot for YouTube. If ever there was a time you were considering tossing me even 50 cents, this would be it. I can already see the ad limitations incoming. We're kicking things off with the 2013 remake of Evil Dead, just because it hits so hard. Let's get to it. We open in the calm, misty woods. Here, an unfortunate young woman on a nature hike is abducted by a pair of strange men. They bring her back to her father, who has some sort of kooky ritual going on. He forgives her for killing her mother and claims to be attempting to help her by expelling a demon from her system. We then learn the only method to truly help is, as always, a purifying fire. Then the demon inside reveals itself.
I will rip your soul out, Daddy.
Emboldening Papa to do his daughter. An unspecified amount of time later, we meet a group of pals congregating outside a small cabin, possibly hoping to lose themselves for a few days, perhaps come of age and whatnot. We learn they've been waiting on David, who goes around back to give his sister Mia a gift before they all gather around for Mia to make an irrevocable promise about getting clean. And then she taints the water supply with her stash. David lets them all in for a cold turkey withdrawal weekend rager, but they're immediately sidetracked by the general condition of the interior, which appears to have been ransacked and carries the subtle aroma of a demon's musty ballsack. As David gets to refurbing the cabin, possibly hoping to uncover some shiplap, Olivia and Natalie confide that they've tried this tactic before, and Mia only lasted 6 hours. They intend to keep her this time no matter what, and since Mia asked David to look after her, he's down for anything, which is good because as the rain rolls in, we find her slowly losing her mind. Olivia, a registered nurse, monitors her well-being as Mia complains of a phantom decomp smell. No one else knows what she's talking about, but then the dog finds a significant blood smear covered by a rug. When they open the trap door, they're then introduced to the phantom smell, which really thickens the air in the cabin. It seems to be emanating from the basement's spare bedroom, which they find to be charmingly decorated with the local fauna. A real love letter to the area. Here we also find the burnt posts from the opening, plus a book wrapped in plastic and barbed wire. Later on, they prepare a prime roast dinner, perfect for someone who's nauseated, and Mia paces around out front as Eric tries to win a staring contest with a book, ultimately deciding to crack her open and give the book its prize for winning. He lets his flesh binding breathe a little, and despite the numerous clear warning signs, he dives in and unearths that which is hidden. He reads the demonic words out loud and unleashes an ancient evil which is now searching the woods for its vessel. Mia runs in to discuss a new plan.
I'm sorry, but I have to get out of here right now.
Deciding she feels real good about the progress they've made and is ready to go ahead and pack it in. Unfortunately, this is when she finds out the plan involves no one leaving, so she distracts them by ruining David's necklace, and as they all work through their personal devastation, she slips out the bathroom window. After hopping in the car, she tears off down the trail, loses control, sideswipes a woman in bedclothes, and wakes up submerged. She tries to exit casually, like she didn't just total someone else's car, and when she looks back to see if anyone's caught up, a figure emerges from the mud, and then she makes mud in her pants. Then she runs off and is chased by a legless entity straight into a thicket of thistlewood. As she struggles to get free, the branches tighten in on her, forcing her to become a bride of Lucifer. She's ushered back into her room where her ramblings of a woman in the woods and a dark power are brushed off as side effects of her withdrawal. They regroup, and upon Olivia ensuring everyone that Mia is receiving care commensurate with what she would get at a hospital, they opt to stick around and not believe anything she says, under the assumption it's a trick to leave. Meanwhile, Eric studies the Book of the Dead, and David attempts to clean up. He finds and follows a bloody trail outside and finds their dog in a hollow. He pulls the pooch out to discover her dead, and finds evidence that it weren't no animal what got at her. He goes to confront Mia, but she's busy getting a hot steamer, with no limiter set, apparently. And as they drive her off for medical treatment, Eric begins to notice a pattern laid out by the book, and their passage is ultimately blocked. But she might actually be okay. After getting her sedated, Eric tries to point out that their situation has degraded to completely boned. To quell any disagreement, Mia then walks out with a gun, the most permanent way one can ever open a window. After a brief outburst,
You are all going to die tonight.
she plays possum, so she can evacuate the moist chunks of her insides straight into Olivia's mouth. Liv then rolls her into the cellar, which they secure, and then Eric suggests that there may be dark forces at play here. This is pretty much confirmed for Olivia when the book makes a suggestion that she finds herself compelled to undertake. Eric walks in shortly after, disappointed that she let loose on the floor instead of his face, and then enters the bathroom to hear some gross, squishy noises. This is revealed to be from her absolutely going to town on the old moneymaker. Then Eric suffers a minor back injury before suffering more severe severe injuries to the chest and face. Then the gang embarrassingly bursts in on him right after he just finished splitting her open. In the tool shed, they break rule number 1, removing the obstruction. With Eric basically bleeding out, he figures why not just come clean and tells them he released an unrelenting ancient evil upon them. Unfortunately, Natalie re-entered the house before this was revealed. Mia plays to her empathetic side, luring her into the cellar. Recognizing the danger, she attempts to leave but is dragged back and rendered unconscious. She wakes up to Mia creeping on her, so she wields a box cutter, which Mia accepts as a gift, splitting her tongue open and then very presumptuously going in for a kiss. David rescues Natalie and takes additional steps to secure the cellar door. Eric finds the book indestructible, and from the margin notes he can tell that a soul-eating demon has been summoned. When she arrives, blood will rain down from hell. The methods of purification for the possessed seem to all involve killing them, and as they sort this out, Natalie tries to clean her filthy, rancid wound. But it's too late, leaving her only one option. Mia watches intently, and for her part, she does try to convince her to stop, but likely only because she wants the demon to take over. This far exceeds David's field dressing capabilities, and he's forced to duct tape her stump. As she relaxes, they further explore purification. However, David's still leaning toward trying to call a doctor who makes house calls. Eric encourages him to take a break as he prepares to burn this mother down, but he's interrupted at the last moment by Natalie, looking to try something she saw in Property Brothers. When David goes for the gun, he gets crowbarred fairly severely. Eric tries to lay down a distraction, but he's part of the wall now, so he mostly just takes whatever punishment she dishes out. But this does give David time to get the shotgun. The demon then gives the driver's seat back to Natalie. To really make David feel bad, as she dies in a state of utter confusion, which is really kind of mean and crummy. David pulls Eric out and confirms he's ready for the final level now, and goes back in to fire it up. Before he can, that tricky basement bitch sings a selection from Zoe's Infinite playlist, and it breaks his resolve. He's determined to find another way, so after a MacGyver montage, he goes in deep. Mia gets the drop on him and flings him about in the brackish water. Right as things appear unrecoverable, David is saved by Eric, who takes yet another forced penetration of the torso. Any remaining doubt of his official death is removed as David lays him to rest face down in the water. What a relief. With Mia sedated, he begins the ceremonial burial. The demon wakes up to make one more emotional plea as Mia, but David retains his strength and completes the procedure. He then takes a beat to let the O2 run out and say a little prayer, putting a little JC into it, and then pulls out her lifeless body. He begins resuscitation efforts, keeping the bag on her head so he's not grossed out if she snots on him. The battery runs out before she regains consciousness, but he takes solace in the fact that she's now at peace. As he walks away, she comes to, standing for dramatic effect, and thanking him for not leaving her. Oh, finally, we can let our guard down. All he has to do is run in real quick to acquire the keys to their automobile. And after all that, his journey is concluded by a little poke to the neck from Demon Eric. He immediately pulls it out, of course, and pleads with Mia to run, so when he locks himself in, it's not for nothing. Just one more quick warning.
Is coming.
And David goes ahead and purifies them. Mia grabs her necklace and finds the prophecy's been fulfilled as the blood rains down and the Soul Stealer emerges. Forced to run, Mia ducks into the hollow, but the demon is an adept creeper, so Mia pulls herself up into the tool shed where she preps the Cheney for the big show. She has to slide back behind the shelves because she's not quite ready yet, and here she contracts a wicked case of tetanus. She does manage to break free and crawls under the Jeep to get things started. She experiments with what happens after removing a demon's leg and finds it has no sense of humor as the Jeep is then overturned, pinning her hand. Determined now to live, Mia has to get to the chainsaw, so she undergoes what can only be described as an extreme degloving, and then completes what I guess is being counted as a technical dismemberment, because it results in the demon returning to the loam and the blood rain letting up. Now that it's over, it's all good. Mia wanders off for help, appearing as though she's not gonna die from blood loss nor be bothered by phantom pains from her missing hand. I have a website set up where you can support the channel through donations or merch. I'd like to take a moment to give a huge thanks to my donors, memorialized in the Hall of Headshots. Evil Dead is a relentless onslaught of visual trauma. There aren't a lot of films that do the same thing as effectively, so I felt it necessary to use it here to kick off the final days leading to the end of October. Again, even censored, I'm not sure it will pass the ad filters, so if you were so inclined, you can make a donation, which would still get you access to an uncensored extra video that has titties in it. Imagine getting 32 videos in 1 month. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love for you to become a part of the channel by subscribing. Thanks for watching.